me, some of you guys who don't know me, my name is Jason Rebsch. I'm out of Austin, Texas. Ari and I co-founded Invictus in 2019, I believe. I was still on the job then, and had our first Invictus in Houston, and not knowing that it was going to turn into a bunch more. We thought it was like a one-time thing for fun. And well, here we are, 6 years later, and we're having these awesome get-togethers. And it's fun to watch the initial group we had. We had like the first one actually shocked us. We had like 100 people show up. And I was like, I don't even know if there's 30 cops around the country who trained. Because that's what it felt like at the time. But little did I know that we were all in our little pockets looking for each other. We just didn't know where all of us were at. And so we put out the call, and then everybody just was like, yes, please, other cops are trained. And we all got together, had a great time, and then just kind of took off from there. And every event's been like this, like everybody shows up, and the level has slowly ratcheted up. Like that first one, like maybe had 10 black belts there, most of who were teaching, and maybe 15 at most. And then everybody else was like white, blue belts, and purple belts, triple brown belts. And if you look at today, like we have over 30 black belts on the mat. I look around and I felt sorry for some of the white belts in here because I know they must have walked in and been like, oh shit, like, what did I walk into? And kind of like going to an open mat as a white belt and everybody's upper belts. But it's fantastic because what that shows is the culture of policing and jiu-jitsu is really combining, and it's growing fast. Because if you look at 6 years ago to today, 6 years is nothing. It's no time at all. The culture has just improved now, at least where I'm at. Lots of cops train. Like it's not unusual for cops to train. We have, police departments have their own jiu-jitsu programs and their own jiu-jitsu clubs. It's really, really bringing itself together in a way we thought it would take a long time. We were like, it's a big ship, it takes a long time, but it's really happening pretty fast. And which is impressive for police work and police officers because we're stubborn and we don't like to change and we don't like new things and we don't like, new challenges, but here we are, and this room is incredible. And I was even telling the guys yesterday, I was like, I got to go over my lesson plan to make sure it's good because this is a really good room with a lot of experience in it. So we definitely want to offer you guys something valuable. I retired in 2020, and I just opened a gym in Austin, and I've been doing that full time for a little while, teaching for Chad with C4C, where Chad's at. And I owe him a lot because he brought me on and has mentored me up and taught me pretty much everything I know about combatives. Till then, I was just guessing, poking holes in the dark. I went to a Gracie Combatives course. That didn't really happen. Sorry if there's Gracie Combatives. But Chad brought me on and really mentored me up. So I always make sure I give credits due. I wouldn't be in the position I am now, the situation I'm in now, without Chad, his mentorship and his friendship. So that's very important to me. For me, jiu-jitsu really provided an avenue. I got into it for policing. Right? I was doing the job, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was tackling and grappling and praying, right, hoping everything went right. Then I found jiu-jitsu through my brother, and found like, oh, this actually works. This gives me an app. I'm teaching me what I can do to get control of people. So I did it for that reason. But like all of us, I think when you start training jiu-jitsu, it's like, oh, this is fun. Like, I really like this. And then you meet all these cool people in jiu-jitsu, and it opens up a whole new world for you. And so when I teach now, like especially like seminars like this, we'll make it depends on what they want. Like a lot of times, hey, we want real heavy combative stuff. But I like to combine the combatives with the sport because I think we all still train for fun. If you go to an academy, and although we're thinking and we're learning, it's making us better on the job, the sport part is a lot of fun. So I'm going to combine a little bit of that. You'll see some combative stuff that I'll show, and then I'm going to kind of show some of the sports stuff I like to do if we can get into it, that I'm playing with and enjoying. And so with that, I'll shut up and get to the teaching part. So we're going to start with the mount situation. So teaching combatives a lot is we don't necessarily teach mount, at least we don't teach mount too much, especially to people with less skill. For obvious reasons, right? We are really connected. If we're wearing gun belts and stuff, people do weird things, right? People that you're trying to control, they do spazzy weird things. They're like the worst spazzy white belts in the world, like in this type of situation. So it can be easy if you're not skilled or good at holding this position, and even if you are a little skilled, to get rolled over and put into a bad position. So typically, right, we always teach to press in, disengage, and go to like knee on top positions where we control. However, you may end up in a mount situation. A good friend of mine, or a friend of mine down in South Florida, he ended up double-legging a guy and going to mount. He's a high-level black belt, so he handled it really well. But it just happened. Like, it can happen that you just end up mounted on somebody trying to get a control of this guy who's going crazy. So let's just say we end up in that mount situation, right? If we were doing sport, we would start isolating limbs out, trying to walk these hands up, and then working into positions where we can start hitting our S mount. However, we're going to talk about more combatives right now to get started before we get to sport stuff, right? So a common thing right here, if I'm trying to control this guy, and he doesn't know what to do, he may just want to get control of me, and maybe a common reaction would be like a waist hug. So he grabs my waist, reaches around my waist, pulls me forward to try to control, be punching him in the head and whatnot, trying to do something just to stabilize the situation. So we end up in this situation. So one way that I learned to deal with this, I think is pretty effective, probably has a little bit of an MMA base, is I'm going to take this hand and I'm going to block the shoulder. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to raise my leg up here to start gaining height. But if I don't block the shoulder in, he may travel with me as I'm trying to step. He can start to travel, making it difficult for me to get to that leg up. So when I'm here and I get stuck in this position, I'm just going to take a hand. You can do this. I just have bad wrists, so I usually make a fist because it's just easier for me. Block that shoulder in, so when I step up, it keeps him in that position where he doesn't shift forward while I'm trying to move up. Now we have a couple options from here, right? Straight, just if we want, we can just press on the face to release that arm. Or if he's being difficult, what can we do? Right, we have strikes. I would prefer forearms and elbows. We don't want to break our hands unnecessarily. Head's a hard thing to hit. So boom, we can do this. Try to get that arm broken. And then once it's here, I can start looking for this position, or I can grab into Kimuras. Now what I want to do, because I want to get it rolled over, is I want to get a situation where I get an arm wrap. So I kind of prefer, when I go here, start underhooking and then shifting that arm over so I get my chest behind his back and start shifting down and feeding it into that arm wrap position. So again, just to get started, let's get ourselves warmed up. We start up here. Grab my cup from it. We start up here. We ended up in a mount situation. We're trying to grab hands. He reaches up, grabs the waist, does one of these numbers, locking himself into our body. So we want to break that contact. So this hand comes through here. I block, step up, gain height. We can push. If he's being real difficult, we can strike till he breaks that open. I want to underhook this arm, bring it around so I get my chest behind his tricep, so I'm blocking that in. Start reaching to feed our arm wrap over. And then of course we have options to start setting up our transition. But what I'm trying to do is prevent him from traveling with me as I'm right. That's what I'm trying to prevent, because that's going to be a problem. So that's why I blocked that shoulder in, so it gives me a good platform to raise up, blocks the shoulder in, keeps him from traveling with me. And again, because I can elevate up, even though he's holding, even if he tries to keep his head close, it's really easy for me to start pushing, striking, those things. I like to come in here. I've seen guys teach grabbing Kimuras here as well. I'm not a big fan of Kimuras overall with combatives. It can definitely be effective and work, don't get me wrong, but you really attach yourself to this guy. And sometimes Kimuras can be a little bit of a strength thing if you don't have perfect positioning and stuff. And if this guy's strong and athletic, he can kind of start slinging you around, trying to hold on to it. So that's why I prefer just to underhook here and drive that over, so I'm maintaining control of that arm and getting myself where I want to get, like say if I was doing a back take, right? I want to get my chest behind his tricep and his elbow. So it sets me up positionally for a good position, lets me lock it in place, and then start feeding this over. Now, we could stay mounted and start trying to drive him over. I would personally rather just disengage, come up, and then start looking to leg weave right here, just because it's going to help me with the turnover. You can take a fist to the ground, you can grab here, and then just take that knee and start driving him over to force that belly down position is an option. Another option too, if you can grab up and grab these shoelaces, pull up. That's another option too, to try to get him over to his belly, where we now have knee on top position, and we can start looking at extracting hands, controlling the head, and looking to find our hand. I got into mount. maybe it was a decision I thought I needed to make. I'm gonna block the shoulder in, raise up, get that height, press, strike, however we need to break that up. Get this underhook control, shift that arm over so I get my chest blocking in his tricep, start feeding in to that arm wrap here. I'm gonna start to just disengage, getting up to that knee on top position, leg weaving, finding here, or even better, just grab here. I like to take my knee to that hip bone area as I pull, kind of get him in an awkward position, start driving over if possible, just like that. Then we start controlling the head, start looking to extract hands. If we get cooperation here, not, we start to put his hands down to build base. That's when we start snatching and getting those hands in. Starting to drive him over, disengaging, looking for different opportunities to get him to this position. Now, he may start, again, you can always transition with windshielding to a more comfortable position. It should be something you're comfortable with. Even though I'm holding his head down, he may start building up to turtle, and I may not get a chance to get to these hands, right? So he may get all the way up to turtle, right, and then we get into this position. I ride up. What I want to do is immediately kind of get down, find that hip bone, and I want to just get him broken down to the hip to start exposing these hands again. So simply blocking with my leg here next to his leg, I'm making it completely, I think it's parallel, perpendicular to his leg. Post my hand, I just backstep, forcing this situation right here. If he's trying to build height or keep height, this is what's going to happen. He's going to break to an elbow. He doesn't want to break all the way down. I can always grab here, start doing that as well. Just grab the trap and start pulling down. But another opportunity again is once he does that, start hunting right here at this position. And once I find that, I start peeling that back, and we can start running it behind his back, right into our handcuffing. Again, here, starting to get control and looking for these other grabs. So, again, we'll start from back mount. You got, or go to prone. So again, he's proned out on his stomach. We got to this position. Feel free to start all the way through the sequence, or begin here as you want. He starts to build up fast. I don't have time. Start right up, and immediately drop down, find his hip, block his knee off with my knee, and I'm just going to pull, block, chalking this knee off so he can't spread his base out. And as I pull, I'm pulling the hip. I'm not up here at the lap. I'm up the hip, because the hip's what I want to break down to the mat. And I make sure I move myself out of the way so I don't end up underneath him. I want to maintain height. I'm looking for that opportunity to find a hand and snatch. And as I break, I'm going to use my shoulder to start the pin and walk that hand to the back. Maintaining control, getting back here where I have at least one hand extracted. And if he gives me that, start reaching through immediately and getting the other extraction. So more effective, right? But it's super effective as well in no-gi. So coming down, we'll do that same breakdown. Again, I'm chalking that leg with my near side leg. I'm keeping one foot kind of behind his butt right here. I mean, you can always switch to here as well and do breakdowns. I kind of prefer this position. It just feels more comfortable. I like having my chest kind of open to my opponent, so I'm able to kind of react and move from position to side if I need to. But I'm here again, we're working, I'm breaking him down, and I get to this breakdown right here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go heavy on my seatbelt. What I mean heavy is I'm going to put a lot of weight on him, so it keeps him stuck on this elbow, and he's not able to return to turtle super fast. Because what's happened now is he's giving me an opening between his elbow and his rib cage, right? Everybody wants to keep the elbows tight to prevent, right? To prevent access to the inside position. So I'm going to take advantage of this breakdown and his wanting to fight back to turtle. And I'm going to get heavy, get my seatbelt, lean heavy. I like to get on my toes, walk through, and then I like to split that elbow with my knee. From here, I sit down, and I simply step over his leg right here. Now, I'm going to pull him back into my crucifix, and I want both my feet to end up on the middle. So from here, because I got him off balance, and I've set this position up to where I want it, I'm just going to start to sit back. So as I sit back, my feet come to the inside here, and I pinch down. If I lift anything, I'll lift this knee into the armpit to kind of block the position, and I'm squeezing everything tight, so it's difficult for him to dead arm out or do anything like that. From here, it's a simple thing for me to start reaching. His hand's going to come up. I just want to find the edge of that hand, not the wrist. Always at the edge, control, create an angle, get in deep, and I have my one arm choked here by lifting and turning. So again, you turtle up. I pick the side, whatever side I'm comfortable with. Find that hip bone. I post my hand out here because I want to lean and get everything going this direction. I chop the knee, I get him broken down. Immediately I find a heavy turn or a heavy seat belt, blocking or pressing him into his leg. I get on my toes, so I'm leaning into the position, sitting, immediately stepping over his wrist to the inside position, bringing everything back, bring everything to this position here. I'm pinching. I can do here or here, but I want to block that arm in so he can't dead arm out, and immediately start hunting an angle, finding the edge of his hand. I get as deep as I can on my choke, and then what I do from here is I just lift and turn for the choke. I'm lifting and I'm lifting the neck up, opening it up, and I'm rotating to finish the choke. Questions come up. Now this has to happen real quick, right? When I hit this position, it's very dynamic when I'm coming in like that. I'm not like going real slow. I'm trying to catch him while he's on his hip, he's off balance, and I'm finding the position. However, again, we're here, I break him down, maybe I just pin this position here. And then as he comes up, I slide my knee into that position where I have that separation still in place. Because I'm pinning, I can now step over. And now from here, I'm just going to scrape it back. So now I'm in a crucifix, but instead of sitting to my hip, I'm here with his leg pinned back here. Now, I don't want to try to get Kimura with his head here. I'm going to reach over the top, grab the wrist, find my Kimura from this position over the top. I want to use the Kimura as a lever to take him over as I roll over. But breaking it down slowly, I'm here. I want to drop to my hip, keeping everything tight, and then I use that Kimura to force him over the top. Once I'm here, I'm already set up to find that hand. I got a good angle, I find my angle, and I reach, lift, and I wait for the choke. And I kind of missed it right there. Instead, I just pinned it. And I slide my knee into that position. Where I had the block, I step over, I peel, getting that hand back, reach over the top, find that Kimura, drop it to my hip, take it over the top. And the great thing about this Kimura grip from here is it feeds right into my hand placement. I find my position, I lift, I want to get as deep on the choke as possible, everything's tight, lift and turn. You also have the option, cross ankles at his wrist, so while I'm simultaneously choking, I can start looking for the arm lock as well. Another option. So again, I break them down, and however you decide to get this crucifix, and this is just a couple. This one's a real simple one because I can just drive in, step over, and roll to the back. Start looking for my attacks here. If he starts to bridge up instantly, right? That happens, I just start to climb underneath him and to take his back. Right there. And if he pulls the arm out, no big deal. I'm still in a nice choking position right here to start finish. So from here, we'll do the same thing. Boom, here, press in, step over, or you can work the other one. However you want to get to the crucifix, or there's a lot of other setups, right? You get to the crucifix, you sit back right here. So I just climb underneath. Let's just snap off from this side. So I've got a nice little arm trap in here, and we can use that to our advantage. Again, we can start looking for chokes, which would be nice as well. But since I got it on top side, I like backside triangles quite a bit because I'm short-legged, so hitting trap triangles is sometimes a little bit of a challenge, but from the backside, it gives me a really good angle. So I'm just gonna reach everything over to this side, go palm to palm, and again, use this arm as a lever. Now, I gotta shift this leg up so I don't trap it underneath his body and lose the position. So as I use this as a lever, I'm just shifting that leg up, tighten my shin, I'm locking everything in place, making sure when I do this, you can push on the hip too to kind of create a good angle, so you get your calf in proper position here across his neck. Keeping the arm loaded high. I don't want him to get the arm low. And then from here, when I cross, I don't want to leave it here so he can start interfering with my, I'm doing all this stuff. I gotta hide it behind his back to prevent him from unentangling my figure four arm catch. So again, from here, I just activate my toes and then activate around my feet, squeeze our knees together. If that's not working, we just feed through for our arm lock, press through. And then my favorite, of course. Yes. 2 hands on top, chin on top. That's why I like that position. It's got a lot of positions you can use it to get into a lot of positions, back takes, whatnot. A lot of control again here. However you want to set this up, I'm doing this just for ease. Coming through, you start your routine. And going through here. I want to fall to this direction though, so I have this on top. You probably the other direction, it's okay. But I want to set it up in this position. So from here, I'm looking, I'm just bringing everything over the top. Bro, shake his hand, hug this ham right here. This is important. Sometimes people get a little confused here. This gives you a nice solid position to start working that lever over. So I'm here, making sure I bring my leg up so everything is trapped. I hug this arm, make sure I bring this all across, hide. I look for the first finish. Second finish is here, just grab my hamstring, hip forward. And so we take all his dignity. Just put it up. All right, guys.